We do all this marketing, right, for all the Nike athletes, but the one Nike athlete who just happens to be the most marketable, who just happens to be the most noticeable, who just happens to be the most recognizable, who just happens to be the face of women's sports, period. Not the face of the WNBA, she's that too. The face of women's sports, period. When we have her on our roster, even if it's not her commercial per se, let's at least throw her some credit and toss her a bone, shall we? Nike chooses not to even do that.
Did you see that Nike just committed the worst marketing gaffe since Bud Light? It completely destroyed their image, and it all stemmed from their decision to treat CaitlinClark, the sexiest basketball player, like a bench player. It began as a dream. In their dazzling Super Bowl commercial, Clark looked like the future of women's basketball and Nike's next superstar. Fans were ecstatic on social media. Travis Kelce was yelling at her, and even casual sports fans were paying attention because they knew CaitlinClark was that girl. She wasn't just being introduced as Nike's next face. She was being crowned. However, just when it seemed like they finally recognized her worth, they did something so perplexing that it felt like a deleted scene from Dumb and Dumber. The following day, Nike released a follow-up ad, and guess what? Clark was erased from existence, as if she had broken some top-secret company policy.
You want to know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! Asia Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson.
Okay.
We got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want to cheat. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're gonna go fast, kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh wait, but what's in that box?
These don't come out till March. They may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com. Who wants a t-shirt?
Every other athlete from the Super Bowl spot was mentioned one by one as if they were getting awards, but Clark remained silent. Just hours before, his face had fans scurrying to purchase jerseys, and now he was treated like an outsider.
Look like Nike is definitely in hot water over the CaitlinClark commercial that appeared a day after the Super Bowl. Now, we all know CaitlinClark had that big-time commercial that aired during the Super Bowl. Even Travis Kelce reacted to the first one.
Fans weren't the only ones who noticed they deleted Instagram and Twitter. The comment sections were like a live roasting session right now on TikTok. One fan posted that you make an advertisement and hype her up, then delete her like we imagined it. She's literally the reason we care. Another went in harder Nike. You clowns are fumbling the future. All of this blew up. Why is CaitlinClark missing? Where is her name? Part 2 of Bud Light.
So CaitlinClark had her Nike commercial, and well, she didn't have her Nike commercial. She had one Nike commercial, and then the other one, they went out of her way not to talk about it. They went out of their way to not talk about CaitlinClark.
The player who sold out arenas before playing a single WNBA minute, whose jersey sales broke records the moment it dropped, and who has ESPN analysts casually mention MVP potential before she's taken a pro dribble. This wasn't just a marketing blunder. It was a slap in the face to every basketball fan who has watched Clark transform the game. Like a broken sneaker, Nike tossed away the gold they were holding.
Nike, Nike, Nike. Oh my God. Nike. Folks, sometimes it's just unbelievable. It's just I don't even know. I'm speechless. I am speechless.
As Nike was racing Clark, other companies were vying for her favor. Gatorade, Wilson State Farm, Panini Trading Cards, and others saw the future when they saw CaitlinClark. However, the best part is yet to come. Wait until you hear how ridiculously Nike attempted to hide this. You'd think Angel Reese was in charge of their public relations team.
In typical CaitlinClark fashion, CaitlinClark's Voldemort. They can't say Voldemort's name. Cheryl Swoops can't say Caitlin Clark's name.
Not only were ardent supporters criticizing Nike's catastrophe, but industry professionals were astounded as well. Those who actually create brands for a living were all expressing the same sentiment. These aren't just any Twitter accounts. These are marketing experts and sports analysts who understand what it means to be a once-in-a-generation star, and they were all looking at Nike like, how do you mess this up? You've got gold in your hands, and instead of building a legacy, you drop it on the floor and step on it. Caitlin Clark is currently the most marketable athlete in women's sports, and Nike just threw her aside like she was nothing.
Somebody said, so you make an ad and you mention everyone except Caitlin Clark. She is the reason for all of the hype. Show the respect she deserves. Can't wait for CC to go to another brand that will respect her. Your history is bookmarked.
Given that Curry revolutionized the sneaker game for Under Armour, one observer even suggested that Clark might be the Stephen Curry of women's basketball in terms of economic impact. However, here's the thing. Nike had the opportunity to do the same with Clark, but they missed it. Nike made a poor first mistake, but their subsequent actions turned it into a full-scale marketing catastrophe because, rather than being $1 billion corporation, they went into full meltdown mode, and their attempts to correct this made matters 10 times worse.
They put a commercial out, and if you guys did not hear, they released a quote-unquote director's cut. And by the way, this is my favorite thing of all.
Imagine this. Someone at Nike must have believed they could quickly patch things up by using the original Super Bowl commercial to try to retroactively insert Caitlin Clark's name. However, it wasn't a fancy edit. Rather, it was a butcher job.
So let's take a listen to this. Nike actually put this one out after the fact.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
They re-recorded it. Like, that's not even, I mean that. That's like, listen to it.
Therefore, let's listen to this. Nike actually released this one after the fact, so you're curious about what I'm selling. Caitlin Clark was named the Rookie of the Year. Nike.com, I know you want a t-shirt. They re-recorded it in such a way that it's not even worth listening to. They hurriedly inserted a line about Clark into the narration of the advertisement as if it were a last-minute homework assignment, and the outcome was hilarious. The speaker's lips and voice didn't match at all. It was like seeing one of those vintage kung fu films when the mouth moves 5 seconds after the speech stops. Fans were watching jaws drop, wondering if Nike simply dubbing over their own ad, akin to a poor TikTok skit. Caitlin Clark was named Rookie of the Year. Nike.com was so awkward and strained that it seemed like someone filmed it in their car on their way to work. I know you want some tea, okay?
Sorry, Ego. They say, hey, Ego, can you just send us a couple lines? Voicemail, email, voice note, memo note, whatever the case may be. Just send us a couple lines and we'll throw the voiceover in of you saying Caitlin Clark, and everybody will be happy, right?
As brands like Adidas and Under Armour were likely sipping champagne while their biggest rival set itself on fire, social media had a field day with comments that criticized Nike like never before. One fan asked if they made her leave a voicemail for this, while another joked that you all thought we would notice the awful dub Nikes on the Bud Light path. Nike made this blunder legendary, even though they believed they were solving the issue.
I mean, at the end of the day, everybody cheered because we had a little Caitlin Clark cameo on a commercial, so this should be enough. So this is what they ended up doing with Caitlin Clark.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
But this is where it goes from embarrassing to completely unbelievable. It's not just a clumsy voiceover or a poor edit job. It's about a global powerhouse like Nike, which is known for setting the standard in sports marketing, fumbling their crisis management so badly that it's almost impressive. They had a great chance to own up to their mistake, put their hands up and say, hey, we blew it, we're sorry, Caitlin Clark deserves better. But instead they went with the corporate version of My Dog Eat.
Listen, they voice over it.
Selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
She's not even talking. Like, she's silent, and 2, it's a voiceover.
Selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
So someone edited that in post-production.
There is a crisis. PR 101. Admit fault, show accountability, and move on. However, Nike skipped that class and attempted to cover up the damage with that terrible voice dub in the hopes that fans wouldn't notice. The experts also noticed, and the marketing professionals weren't kind. They ripped Nike's response, with one PR consultant even calling it one of the worst crisis responses I've seen from a major brand in years. These are the same people who praised Nike's iconic Just Do It campaign's ads that inspired generations of athletes, and now the same experts are telling Nike, just don't.
How ridiculous is this? How ridiculous is this, folks? They had her send in a voice memo. They had her, watch this.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, CaitlinClark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
This is ridiculous.
Consider this. This is the business that provided us with the firm that made Serena Williams a worldwide celebrity, created advertising campaigns that gave children hope that they might fly, and now has their biggest celebrity endorsements is Michael Jordan's Air Jordans. Fans of rising stars weren't merely let down. They were furious. The backlash struck social media like a tidal wave. Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere you scrolled, you saw the same thing. Fans were criticizing Nike for treating CaitlinClark disrespectfully. One tweet went viral saying, "Nike, you're a bunch of clowns." Why wasn't Caitlin's name said? The frustration was genuine. This wasn't just a commercial anymore. It felt personal, as if Nike had taken the player, who fans were supporting, and treated her like an afterthought.
Freaking egos over here walking in the middle of New York City sending a voice note. CaitlinClark, Rookie of the Year. I know you want a tee. Oh man, this is disastrous. This is disastrous again.
And now for the big question. What will happen to CaitlinClark and Nike next? It's obvious that Nike didn't just fumble this. They burned the entire playbook, and now everyone is watching what Clark does next. Will Clark continue working for a company that values her about as much as a clearance rack t-shirt? Or will she realize it's time to join a company that actually knows how to spell her name without requiring a last-minute voiceover?
Folks, we have footage of her saying nearly every word in the other commercial. Yet in this commercial, we just have her going, you can't make this up. The WNBA writes themselves. The WNBA nonsense writes itself. Nike writes itself. These people just can't get out of its own way. It's funny to watch.
It wasn't just regular fans who were furious. Content producers were everywhere, like Angel Reese on a missed layup. Sports analysts and TikTokers jumped in and analyzed every moment of Nike's error as if it were game footage. Imagine that the same company that was supposed to be boosting Clark was suddenly being advised to fire her. One YouTuber didn't hold back, stating that Nike will never be able to refute these charges, and even suggesting CaitlinClark should completely abandon the brand.
Went in the lab and they redid this commercial. They definitely redid it, did a voiceover on it. They had to fix it, dog. They definitely had to fix it.
Consider how wild that is. This was not simply irate tweets. These were actual statements from people who influence public opinion. And Nike, the company that established its legacy by associating itself with greatness, was now perceived as the brand stifling the future of women's basketball. Yes, the story was changing quickly.
At the end of the day, Nike is Nike, folks. Nike is Nike. Oh, but they put a poster in Angel Reese territory. Angel Reese isn't a Nike athlete. This would mean a little bit something if it was a Nike athlete running down on a Nike athlete in her own territory. Then we got something. This is Nike claiming real estate that they've already claimed.
And it only got worse when the experts weighed in. Veteran sports analysts who have seen every marketing tactic in the book were completely perplexed. One of them shook his head live and said, "Nike just can't get out of their own way." You know something is wrong when people who typically applaud your brand as gospel are comparing your choices to a star player blocking layups. The pressure was mounting like a fourth quarter comeback, and every update on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok generated a new round of outrage. Once the pinnacle of style, Nike, the company that made Michael Jordan a household name, was suddenly being ridiculed by fans for being more foolish than Angel Reese from three-point range. Analysts were pulling them along. The entire internet seemed to have become one enormous thread asking what Nike is doing.
Yeah, it is. It's just so funny. Nike's just fumbling of CaitlinClark. Like, This wouldn't, by the way, like I wouldn't be complaining that much about this if it wasn't for the fact that like Nike are out there basically saying that one of the big reasons why they're failing is because of a lack of their signature line.
However, this is when things go insane. This wasn't just a passing fad. It was getting worse quickly. You could almost hear Nike's marketing department perspiring through your screen, and you could feel the panic and desperation radiating from Beaverton HQ people. Picture the scene where Nike's team was huddled around a microphone, frantically saying, "Quick, someone say CaitlinClark's name. We'll fix it in post." This wasn't just a marketing blunder anymore. It became a symbol of something larger disrespect toward the athlete, and now the real question was hanging over everything. What will CaitlinClark do next?
Because of a lack of their signature line, they are failed. Like LeBron's aren't selling as much. All of these like signature lines are not selling enough. And you've got one signature line that you know for a fact is going to sell a absolute shitload, and you don't have it.
Since experts already predict that this could have a lasting negative impact on Nike's reputation in women's sports marketing, and let's face it, every other brand is watching this unfold with their checkbooks open. Does she choose to work with a company that truly understands her, or does she stick with one that treated her like an afterthought? If Clark leaves, it will send shockwaves through the entire industry because this isn't just about a bad advertisement. It's about respect and realizing the future of women's basketball, and right now Nike looks like they're still stuck in the past. Do you agree? If so, please leave a comment, click the video on the screen, turn on all notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Adidas, Under Armour, and Puma are all circling ready to give Clark the respect and recognition Nike failed to deliver.
Somebody said they put her in the director's cut. Bro, you can't make this ish up. No, that wasn't no director cut. That was a voiceover from the heat that they was receiving online for people like me and other content creators calling them out, and even y'all on Twitter calling them out for leaving CaitlinClark out of this damn commercial.